2009, when Rudd was Prime Minister Rudd, and he understood, by the way, he understood Chinese communism. Essentially, he and his government resolved then, and we're talking 2025, and none of this has happened, we should secure 12 new state-of-the-art submarines and Tomahawk missiles.
Yes.
And 16 years on, we've done no such thing. We talk about AUKUS, but now's the danger time, as everyone says. You yourself have referred again to the intelligence that says President Xi wants to be able to move on Taiwan by 2027 militarily if they have to. As we speak, Australia's defence capabilities are declining, as I understand it, and because of the AUKUS submarines, $82 or $83 billion has been rescoped, to use the jargon, out of our capacity now, which, as I say, is declining. That's partly why it's declining, to help pay for that, which may be too late. Isn't that an astonishingly powerful condemnation of our, let's be blunt, our political, our military, our strategic leaders in this country?
Well, John, by way of disclosure, because not all of your viewers will know this, I led the white paper team in 2009 that developed the options for Mr Rudd and his government to consider. So I had the honour of, as a Deputy Secretary of Defence, leading that team. It was not my individual genius or foresight. I had a wonderful team in support, and we analysed very carefully intelligence, we analysed strategic assessments, we analysed things that just at the time, John, did not make sense. Why was it? Why? And this is 3 years before President Xi was elected as the incoming General Secretary and President of China. So we're talking about 2008, 2009, so during the time of Hu Jintao. It was very clear to us that they were developing weapon systems to target things like US carrier battle groups, to target land bases such as Guam, and indeed land bases such as Darwin, to the extent that Darwin might be made available to the Americans in any future Pacific war. It struck us that, and this is before Xi came on the scene, it struck us that structurally, leaving aside personality, structurally, the Chinese Communist Party wanted to assure itself or give itself the option of being able to counter American conventional firepower to the extent that the Americans would come to the view that they would take such losses that even if the Chinese took heavy losses, that they would have to then rely on nuclear weapons sooner rather than later. And that would give the Chinese leadership to, in effect, deter the Americans from taking conventional action on the fear that nuclear escalation could occur. Now, there was one problem with that theory, was that against a Reaganite-type president who was willing to take it to the brink, a first nuclear strike against China would potentially wipe out what was at that time a minuscule nuclear force. Guess what they've done in the last 16 years? They have gone hell for leather to improve their nuclear weaponry, their nuclear capability, their dispersal of their weapons, and also the hardening of their bunkers and their command and control systems. They no longer have that fear that they would lose a relatively small nuclear force to a US first strike. So they've got an assured second strike capability, which takes that fear away. They've created the world's largest navy. In platform terms, they're now bigger than the US Navy, who of course have stretched across more global theatres of responsibility. So that master plan that we started to discern, not through any prescience, but just simply thinking through, as a strategist would think through, how the Chinese evolved their capabilities, really struck us with great clarity in that period, 2008, 2009. Mr Rudd, to his credit, and I think it's been well enough written about, although I won't disclose matters that, and you wouldn't want me to disclose cabinet confidences where I witnessed certain discussions, but I think it's fair to say, just from memoirs and Mr Rudd's own memoir, that he led that debate within his government pretty much on his own, that there wasn't a lot of support for the kind of rearmament that he had in mind. And tragically, and I say this without any political partisanship at all, once he was removed from the leadership through the change of leadership to Ms Gillard, all of those plans fell away. Now, people can come to their own judgments about who's culpable in all of that.